So today's video, Husqvarna or Oregon. I run both of them. I don't see a lot of difference between either one of them. I'll show you the couple of differences I do see. Does it make them cut any better or not? Which one do you prefer? I'll tell you which one I prefer at the end of this video. So what I'm doing today, I got asked to file two of these chains, the Oregon and they just happen to be two different chains, an Oregon and a Husqvarna XCut. I'm going to put them both on my saw and I'm going to file them both up so they're nice and tight in the bar, and so the chain's not tipping, the tooth's not tipping on the, and I'm getting a good filing job done on it. These two chains they're not in bad shape. They were just out of a box. The user feels like a chain cuts better right out of the box, and these got a little bit dull, and asked me to give them a little sharpen for him. My opinion, if you think a chain's cutting good out of a box, you have filing issues if you think a chain's cutting out of the box, I guess is the best way to explain it. Because you can make them cut better, and I can prove that to you today. So I'm going to stick the Oregon one on. I'm going to show you the difference, or the chain out of the box, sorry, and my chain that I know that cuts good, and cuts really good actually, and the chain that I'm putting on here I'm going to file. So to the naked eye, when we focus, these chains look actually pretty good. And they're all, like I say, they're new chains. The filing job looks pretty good, other than maybe too much of a hook on that tooth and on that whole side right there. But we're going to go out and try them in a stick. And then we're going to try the XCut. That's about similar shape. It's just new out of the box, but it's been used some, maybe filed once, twice. User just like to see them cutting a little better. So we're going to take them all out to the wood pile. My chain, which is an Oregon, and this is an Oregon of his chain, and the other chain, which is the XCut chain. And we're going to see the difference, see if we can see the difference first, and then I'm going to file them up. Okay, we're going to pick a stick here, try to pick one the same size. Oregon out of his box versus mine, and we'll see if we see a difference or not. 562 XPG Husqvarna 16-inch bar. So I had to push on that saw to make a cut, and you hear the jitter, the jittering, and that means if it's where it's not cutting as good, but it's still got that jitter, there's some bad teeth that aren't cutting right, and some are pulling and some aren't. So we'll switch to my chain, still an Oregon chain, and just see if there's a difference. I wasn't pushing it all in this saw. It was doing its own work for it. Pulling by itself. You always make the saw do the work for you. You don't do the work for the saw. So the better you can file, the better you can make your chain cut. It makes your day go so much easier, and it's just so much better to have a good cutting chain. We'll switch out the Husqvarna XCut. We'll take, this was an Oregon chain versus an Oregon chain. My chain versus the other chain that I need to file. I'm going to put the Husqvarna XCut chain on versus my chain. We'll see if there's a difference. Okay, Husqvarna XCut. This chain looks like it's been filed a couple times, but it's pretty near new out of the box. He's touched the rakers down some, took a few rubs off them, same as the Oregon, same as mine. The rakers are all about the same, but this is the way he files and the way I file, the difference. There's where we started at the top, and there's where we come out the bottom. It's got a bad run to it. A run is when it cuts on a slant. As soon as you start into a stick, your saw should automatically go right down through the stick. If your filing is done right, it should go down through straight as an arrow and pulling nice. This chain was not pulling, it wasn't pulling too good, bad. But the difference between this one and the Oregon is one side's messed up, and I can see the difference just by looking at it. So we're going to take them all back to the bench. We're going to file them up, take the imperfections out of them, and see if we can make them cut. Here's one of my cookies. Pretty much cut nice and straight down through. Here's one of his. This one was running and this one wasn't. This one was one of mine. You can see the pull marks through the stick of wood. That means your chains, both sides are doing what they need to do, and that is making nice cuts. That's what you want to see. You want to see these pull marks. It's nice straight cuts. This one here, you can see the chain was wanting to roll. You see the roll marks? If your chain is doing this to a stick, making these roll marks on the stick, it means your chain is trying to go down through the stick like this. It's wanting to, oh, one side's cutting good, and it goes down. Oh, but the other side has to, it makes a roll, and it wants to go down through the stick like that. So the difference, this chain needs to be fixed up on both sides, but one side is not cutting as good as the other. Let's take them to the bench, get them fixed up. So 7/32 file. See how that tooth is rounded and there's some air, if you can see right in here. That's not a good file tooth. I'm going to straighten this out. See where that's rolling back? You got to get rid of that. There, nice straight across, nice flat, and a good angle. Good angle going across. Same with your line here, and the hook down here. That's a nice. It's not too far down. I am lifting up on the tooth a little bit, so it's not right down hard into the tooth. Where it's a new chain, you get too much of a hook on them sometimes, and that makes them not cut as nice. So right this tooth right here, I'm going to take the. I need to get the angle. So there's the angle. I'm waiting to see that right there. I want to see that roll off before I stop filing. There it goes, right there. That's perfect. In my experience, and mine only, means nothing. But I had better experiences with the Oregon chain than the XCut so far. I find, for me, where I use the cannon bar, the Husqvarna chain takes a narrower curve. And if you put a fielder gauge on them, from the right new out of the box, the Oregon chain is wider in the tooth. Wider in the tooth this way. Only a little bit, but it does make a difference. And if it makes a little bit of a wider cut down through the stick, I find with the, especially cannon bar on, they're a little thicker bar. The chain it doesn't pinch as much going down through a stick, especially when your chain gets filed back further and it takes a narrower curve. That's what I like about the Oregon. It's wider right from the get-go, and as you file back, it stays wider longer, if that makes any sense. Again, getting the angle, filing out the angle, getting it right, getting a nice hook on the tooth, but not too much of a hook. See the little hangnail right there? I'll wipe that off. See that little hangnail? We're going to call that the hangnail. Get rid of it. That means you've got a nice straight. There goes the hangnail. Look at that tooth. Pick your angle. Get rid of that hangnail. There it is again. There it goes. Rolls off just like that. And we're all the way around this side. Other side. This side here is a little worse. I'm actually going to take some of the angle out of it. See that little thread? We want to get rid of that. There it goes. That's a nice tooth right there. See how that tooth doesn't have a point on it, nice point on it like this one here. It's a little bit rounded. That makes a big difference when you're cutting, and that's what made that chain roll down through the stick, making that roll on the stick. Right there, that's perfect. See what, see here? See that tooth? How it's got, he almost was too much of it. He didn't go enough rubs is what happened there. Gotta get that nice straight across. Hard to see from the camera, but you can see it from the naked eye. You can see that bad tooth rolling off. Here's one, another bad tooth. It's got no point on the tooth at all, and it's not straight across. Last couple of rubs on that tooth, I made sure I got down in the chain far enough, but not too far. But my last couple of rubs, I lifted up on the file, and I wanted to make sure I got my angle. So I'm around that side, and I just want to explain, I did not touch the raker on this chain at all. All I did was straighten the teeth out. And I'm not going to touch the raker because he's got the raker down far enough. I think you'll see a difference with this chain cutting. The Oregon chain versus the XCut chain, pretty near impossible to tell, but the Oregon is a little bit wider. Do I think the Oregon versus the XCut, Husqvarna XCut, keeps a better edge? I don't find any difference once you get them filed good. But the Oregon, I do find, has a little bit of a wider tooth right out of the box. It is, if you measure it with your calipers, you can see the difference. And but this mostly today is about getting the teeth straightened out, not too much of a gullet down in here, making sure it's filed straight across and all the chips taken out of the teeth. It's not bad. There's a bad one. Here's another bad one. You got to take that right out of it. That shiny stuff right there, when you're filing chain, that right there and that right there, you got to take that right out of the tooth before your chain's going to cut good. Before that tooth is going to cut good. File it back till that's gone. You can also feel this, the first rub on the chain. I don't know if you can hear the difference or not, but when you can hear that, feel that nice, the file is taken nice, even. It's very smooth on the chain after you take a few rubs off it. This is rough right now. And I think you can probably hear the difference, but anybody knows what I'm talking about? That first couple of rubs is dirty and rough. And now this feels like the file is taking nice even pulls right through the chain. See that straighten out right there? This side has too much. This side here has too much hook on it, so I'm lifting up on the file every rub to try to take some of the hook off the tooth. There. Here's a bad tooth here. You got your shiny and your dark, and that would make the jitter when you're cutting. That's all it would take. You can hear it when you go down through a stick. It'll make the jittering noise as it's going down because you got a few bad teeth like this. If you got that, you got to file your chain. You got to get that out of it. There it goes, gone. So I'm around this side. I got the Oregon done. I got the XCut done. And we're going to go back out to wood pile, see how they cut, see how they perform. Okay, this is the Oregon chain that was in the box that we filed. After I file it, and see how it cuts. Perfect. Husqvarna XCut next. Okay, Husqvarna XCut filed on the bench. See how she goes. This is the one that was cutting the cookies off on an angle. Now it's straight as an arrow. This is what I mean. You see all them lines, straight pole lines on the stick? Best way I can explain it. That's when your saw is cutting good. When you have this issue, the rolling, and that going down through the stick, your chain is not filed right. Stop and file it. This is a good filed chain, poorly filed chain. Poorly cutting chain, I should say. Don't keep cutting when you see this. Stop and file. This is what you want to see. Those two chains are cutting good now. So I'll take these chains back to my friend. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with them. Both of these chains, I never touched the rakers because he had them down far enough. They just need to be, the teeth just need to be straightened out some. And on the Oregon chain, they had too much of a hook. On this chain, there was one bad side. And that's all it was. It wasn't anything too bad, but that's the difference in the cutting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hog dogs.